Creighton Beach was no place for laughter or sunny days. It was a realm where joy seemed to have been banished, leaving behind only a haunting silence. The very air seemed to whisper tales of sorrow and loss, stories that had been forgotten by time but remembered by the land. A desolate stretch of gray sand where waves sighed and whispered secrets to cold stones. Each wave seemed to carry a message from the past, a lament for those who had walked these shores and never returned. The stones, smooth and cold, bore silent witness to the passage of countless souls. Few visited, and those who did, never stayed long. The beach had a way of making you feel unwelcome, as if it resented the intrusion of the living. The long shadows cast by the setting sun seemed to reach out, urging visitors to leave before darkness fell. The air was heavy, burdened with a sadness that seeped into your bones. It was a palpable weight, a sense of melancholy that clung to you long after you had left. The mist that often rolled in from the sea added to the somber atmosphere, shrouding the beach in an eerie fog. Even in daylight, shadows clung to the dunes, twisting into strange shapes. They seemed almost alive, moving and shifting as if they had a will of their own. It was easy to imagine that these shadows were the spirits of those who had been lost to the sea, forever bound to the shore. The wind carried no scent of salt, only damp earth and something old. It was a wind that seemed to come from another time, bringing with it the echoes of ancient tragedies. The ground beneath your feet was often muddy, as if the beach itself was weeping for the souls it had claimed. Gulls circled but never landed, their cries mournful warnings. They seemed to sense the beach's dark history, their eerie calls a reminder of the dangers that lurked. The birds were like sentinels, watching over the shore and keeping their distance from the cursed land below. Locals spoke of a thin veil between worlds, where souls lingered. They believed that the beach was a place where the living and the dead could almost touch, separated only by a fragile barrier. It was said that on certain nights you could hear the whispers of those who had passed calling out from the other side. At night the beach transformed. The sand turned black, the sea an inky void. The darkness seemed to swallow everything, leaving only the sound of the waves crashing against the shore. It was a place of nightmares, where the line between reality and the supernatural blurred. To walk there after dark was to invite unseen companionship. The shadows seemed to come alive, following your every step. It was as if the beach itself was watching you, waiting for the moment to claim another soul. It was to hear your name called softly from the darkness. A whisper that sent chills down your spine, making you question whether it was the wind or something more sinister. The beach had a way of getting under your skin, making you feel as if you were never truly alone. Fragments of stories survived, shipwrecks, lost sailors, darker deeds. The remnants of old shipwrecks dotted the shore, each one a testament to the lives lost to the unforgiving sea. Tales of sailors who had met their end here were passed down through generations, each story darker than the last. The sand held these memories, each grain a piece of sorrow. It was as if the very earth had absorbed the pain and suffering of those who had perished. Walking on the beach, you could almost feel the weight of these memories pressing down on you. The beach waited for the curious, the unwary, the lost. It was a place that seemed to call out to those who were searching for something, drawing them in with its eerie beauty. But once you were there, it was hard to leave, as if the beach had a hold on you, and sometimes it did not let them go. The beach had a way of claiming those who ventured too far, adding their stories to its collection of lost souls. It was a place of mystery and danger, where the line between the living and the dead was perilously thin.
I always felt the sinister pull of the sea, its darker moods. The ocean has a way of calling to those who listen, a siren song that is both enchanting and foreboding. It's not just the beauty of the waves or the vastness of the horizon, it's the mystery that lies beneath, the secrets the deep waters hold. Creighton Beach called to me despite its reputation. Known for its eerie silence and the strange occurrences that many have whispered about, it was a place that both repelled and attracted me. The stories of disappearances and ghostly apparitions only added to its dark allure. One starless night, I walked towards the whispering waves. The moon was hidden behind thick clouds, casting the beach in an almost complete darkness. The only light came from the occasional glimmer of the waves as they broke on the shore. The silence was oppressive, a heavy blanket. It was as if the world had paused, holding its breath. The usual sounds of the night were absent, replaced by an eerie stillness that made every step I took seem louder than it should have been. No crickets, no traffic, just the tide's slow breathing. The rhythmic sound of the waves was the only thing that broke the silence, a constant reminder of the ocean's presence. It was both soothing and unsettling, a paradox that mirrored my own feelings. I sought solitude, but a deeper part of me searched for something else. Perhaps it was answers, or maybe it was just the thrill of the unknown. Whatever it was, it drew me further into the darkness, away from the safety of the familiar. A sense of being watched crept in, a prickle on my skin. It was a feeling that was hard to shake, as if unseen eyes were following my every move. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up, and I couldn't help but glance over my shoulder. I turned quickly. Nothing, just endless sand and brooding dunes. The landscape was unchanged, yet the feeling of being watched persisted. It was as if the beach itself was alive, aware of my presence and reacting to it. The feeling persisted, growing stronger with each step. It was a sensation that was hard to ignore, a constant reminder that I was not alone. The beach, with its dark and ominous atmosphere, seemed to close in around me. The beach felt like a room with unseen occupants. Every shadow seemed to hide a secret. Every gust of wind carried a whisper. It was a place that was both empty and full, a paradox that was hard to comprehend. The air grew colder, a chill from the sand itself. It was a cold that seemed to seep into my bones, making me shiver despite the cardigan I wore. The mist that began to roll in only added to the sense of unease. I pulled my cardigan tighter, knowing I should turn back. But something held me there, a force that was stronger than my fear. It was as if the beach had cast a spell on me, binding me to its dark and mysterious allure. But the beach held me, its invisible threads tightening. Each step I took felt like I was walking deeper into a trap, yet I couldn't bring myself to leave. The lure of the unknown was too strong, pulling me further into the darkness. I was caught between dread and curiosity. The fear of what might be lurking in the shadows was almost overwhelming, but the desire to uncover the beach's secrets was even stronger. It was a battle between my instincts and my curiosity. What watched me from the shadows of Craven Beach? The question echoed in my mind, a haunting refrain that refused to be silenced. The beach, with its dark and eerie presence, held its secrets close, and I was determined to uncover them. Further along the shore, I saw it. A patch of denser darkness, like a void swallowing the light. It was near the tide line where waves lapped listlessly, as if afraid to touch it. My heart thumped violently as I squinted to make out its form. It was upright, roughly the height of a person, but grotesquely wrong. The figure was unnaturally still, facing the sea, as if waiting for something. No discernible features, just a darker silhouette that seemed to absorb the night. It seemed to hover above the sand, defying the laws of nature. A cold dread rooted me to the spot, paralyzing my every muscle. The air shimmered around it, like heat rising from cold ground, distorting reality. No sound, no movement, just a subtle, sinister sway. I knew with chilling certainty this was not of this world, and it was aware of me. The figure began to turn, a slow, deliberate movement. Not the turn of a living body, but like a statue on a pivot, creaking with an unnatural sound. I wanted to scream, but my feet were fused to the sand, as if the beach itself held me captive. The figure faced me, an unblinking gaze locking onto me, eyes like black voids. An intense cold washed over me, a physical force that felt like death's embrace. The silence was absolute, even the waves hushed, as if the ocean itself feared to make a sound. I finally broke free, stumbling backwards, then ran, the terror clawing at my back. I never set foot on Craden Beach again, the memory too horrifying to revisit. The memory of the Midnight Watcher haunted me, a shadow in my dreams. The beach kept its secrets, the figure perhaps still watching, waiting for its next victim.
Thomas was captivated by the unseen, a collector of eerie sounds. He had always been drawn to the hidden symphonies of nature, the haunting melodies that played just beneath the surface of our everyday lives. His equipment was an extension of his obsession, meticulously chosen to capture the faintest of whispers. Craden Beach, with its unsettling quiet, was perfect for his equipment. The beach was known for its haunting beauty, a place where the line between reality and the supernatural seemed to blur. The locals often spoke of strange occurrences, but Thomas was a man of science, not superstition. He dismissed local tales as folklore, stories meant to entertain rather than inform. He believed that every sound had a source, every whisper an origin. His mission was to uncover these sources, to bring the unseen into the light. He set up his microphones, listening for unusual sounds. The process was almost ritualistic, each piece of equipment placed with precision. He tuned his devices, adjusting for the ambient noise, ready to capture the secrets of the beach. At first, only the expected: waves, a lone seabird, rustling grass. These were the sounds of a living, breathing ecosystem, familiar and comforting in their predictability. But Thomas was searching for something more, something that lay beyond the ordinary. As dusk settled, a new sound entered his recordings, a low, sinister murmur. It was subtle at first, almost indistinguishable from the background noise. But as the light faded, the murmur grew more pronounced, weaving itself into the fabric of the evening. No one else was on the beach, yet the sound was woven into the air. It was as if the beach itself was whispering dark secrets, sharing stories that had been long forgotten. The emptiness of the beach only amplified the mystery, making the whispers seem even more surreal. The murmuring grew louder, like ghostly whispers. They seemed to come from all directions, surrounding him, enveloping him in a cocoon of sound. Thomas felt a strange mix of excitement and unease, his scientific curiosity battling with a primal sense of fear. He took off his headphones, but the whispers remained. They were not a trick of his equipment. They were real, tangible. He could feel them in the air, a presence that defied explanation. They curled around him, an invisible invitation to listen closely. It was as if the beach was calling to him, urging him to uncover its dark secrets. The whispers were a puzzle, a mystery that demanded to be solved. A shiver traced down his spine. The line between the known and the unknown had never felt so thin, and Thomas knew he was on the brink of a discovery that could change everything. Thomas put his headphones back on, dread creeping up his spine. The whispers were clearer, yet sinister, like dry leaves scraping on stone. A haunting weeping, almost drowned by the waves. He tried to pinpoint the source, but the whispers seemed to come from the shadows. It was as if the beach itself was alive, sharing its mournful secrets. An icy, ghostly touch on his cheek made him shudder. The whispers grew louder, more menacing, words of despair, longing, and torment. He thought of the tales of restless spirits. The sounds were too relentless to be mere tricks of the wind. A cold seed of terror took root. The whispers morphed into a sinister symphony of tormented souls, high and thin, low and despairing, creating a nightmarish cacophony of agony. The sounds invaded his mind, a crushing, inescapable weight of dread. Panic set in. This was a relentless, horrifying assault. He frantically gathered his equipment, the chorus swelling to a deafening, hellish roar. Unseen hands clawed at his clothes, icy breath chilling his very soul. He abandoned his gear, clutching only the recorder in sheer desperation. He sprinted towards the town, the chorus echoing like a haunting, eternal nightmare. Thomas never dared to listen to the full recording, fearing the horrors it held. The beach was a place of torment, a repository of endless, malevolent pain. The whispers lingered, a chilling reminder of the malevolent, unseen world.
Clara loved sunsets, finding magic in the day's surrender to night. Creighton Beach offered spectacular displays of color. She chose a spot on a dune to see a flat sheet of molten gold. A gentle peace settled over her, but something felt off. The colors were sharp, intense, almost unnatural. Shadows grew long, a chill permeated the air. The light pulsed with a silent rhythm, the beauty overlaid with dread. The beach felt expectant, the silence heavy. The sea seemed to hold its breath. Clara glanced around feeling unnerved. The landscape seemed to change, preparing for something sinister.
The sky deepened to an unnatural crimson, the color of blood. The light was suffocating, the air oppressive. Clara felt a crushing pressure in her chest, a dawning, paralyzing horror. A vast black shape loomed on the horizon, menacing and unnatural. It devoured the crimson light, growing darker and more sinister. The world twisted and contorted, dunes leaning grotesquely, grass writhing. The horizon wavered, the dark shape swelling, consuming the sky. Panic seized her. This was an abomination of nature. The fabric of reality seemed to tear apart, unraveling into chaos. The beauty of the sunset was a cruel deception, a lure into unspeakable terror. The event reached its horrifying crescendo, the dark shape pulsing one last dreadful time. The phenomena receded, the light dimming to an eerie twilight. The oppressive weight lifted, the sinister shape dissolved into the night. Clara sat trembling. The beach transformed into a place of dread. The memory remained, vivid and horrifying. She stumbled away, never daring to speak of the horrors she witnessed. The beach etched a permanent scar in her memory. It was a place where the world revealed its terrifying underside. The dread lingered, an unfading mark on her soul. Creighton Beach kept its dark secrets, luring others to witness its terror.